Hey everyone, my name is Bianca. Thank you so much for joining me on my channel today. Today we're going to talk about why people don't resonate with their sun sign. A lot of times you'll have someone, they'll look up their birthday, Google what zodiac sign am I, and that will just be the end of it. They'll read some type of description, generalized description of the archetype of that sign. So if you're a Gemini, whatever those, significations are, and then they'll say, I'm not 100% that. I don't 100%, resonate with that. And so astrology is not real, which is really an unfortunate thing, right? Astrology is a huge practice, a huge field of study, and it is way more complex than people give it credit for. So if you're interested in learning why you do not resonate with your sun sign, keep watching. So real quick, my name is Bianca. I am an astrologer. So if you want your own chart read, or you're looking to learn more about astrology and kind of get some tutoring or anything like that, head over to my website, fourthhouselb.com. The link's down below, and check out some of my offerings. Pretty much that's it. Yeah. And anyone who's interested in likes my astrology software that I use in this video, I use Luna. So there's a link down below for some discounts as well. So a lot of people that I'm around tend to be very data driven and, practical people. I work in a very practical, data driven industry. And so when they hear that I'm very into astrology, they kind of turn their head because they're just trying to figure out. And I think people still, even if you're a data driven person, you still think of people in archetypes, which is funny because astrology is all about archetypes. But people tend to, peg me as someone who's probably very analytical and very fact-based. So astrology to them seems like this is not an analytical thing, that it's like, fluff, and that there's no analytics to it. It's just you Google up your zodiac sign and that's it. And the unfortunate thing about astrology, at least how it's presented publicly, is that it is pretty much someone will look up their birthday and then look up the zodiac sign associated to the birthday, and that's the extent of it. And if they don't resonate with the description, they're like, it's not for me. But if you are someone who's a student of astrology, you know that the most useful way to understand your personality and the way your life is truly expressed in its true nuanced way is through casting a natal chart. And a natal chart is key to anyone trying to learn astrology. I have one up right now. I can show you. This is Jodi Arias's natal chart. And if you don't know who she is, go check out my video. I do a chart reading on her. But she's if you were to Google her birthday only, like how most people do, she is a Cancer. Okay. Her sun is, which means translation, her sun is in Cancer. So when you say, oh, I Googled my name, or I Googled my birthday and I am this sign, it means that it's your sun sign. So just keep that in mind. But when we cast a chart, we're not looking at just the sun sign, though it is a huge important element of a person's life, or the way they express themselves. But it's also a part of a bigger picture. When you talk about your natal chart, you're incorporating the moon and Venus and Mercury, the moon being your subjective reality and your emotions, your mother, your family, Venus being what you attract in this life, your situations with money and love and relationships, Mercury, the way that you communicate, Jupiter, your belief systems, and the way that you happen to have good luck come into your life. And so there's so many different planets that we address and work with in astrology. So my number one reason why someone doesn't relate to their sun sign is because they've just not got the full picture. And our pop astrology focuses so much on the sun sign astrology. And the sun sign, even though it's very important, it's associated to your core identity and your ego and your personality, and your goals, right? There is this element of aspiration that I think is associated to the sun, and that people can come into this life not fully embodying their sun sign just yet. And so you might appreciate those characteristics of someone who is has a sun in Aquarius, right? If you say that you have a sun in Aquarius, you might appreciate those things about Aquarian people and ideals, but maybe you just haven't embodied that. And so when you read these things, you might like that about a person, but you say, I'm just not that person though. And so that can happen so that's where, looking at the full chart and getting the full picture is important. Now, again, the sun sign is really important to some, is the core of our identity. And I'm going to talk about later what can inhibit your ability to express your sun sign and really shine in the way that you're expected to and should in this life. But for the most part, you might not always be full sun, be full Aquarius or whatever your sun sign is. So that's number one. So your evolutionary path is to really embody the sun's expression in this life and to embody the sun's sign that you're associated to. So something to think about. Number two, Saturn or Neptune are creating a hard aspect against your sun. So that is, I think, one of the bigger things that I see often with people's charts, being able to express themselves. I even see with even Pluto, because of the power dynamics, someone might not be able to express themselves in their fullest form and be themselves. So Saturn is a planet of restrictions, boundaries, limitations. And if it's creating a difficult aspect to a person's sun, which is supposed to be the way they shine and express themselves in life, that can cause friction and challenge for them to express themselves. Saturn will limit, restrict, and cause challenge with that individual being able to express themselves and truly embody their sun sign. Because honestly, people do want to be their sun sign. I have a friend who's a Cancer rising in a Scorpio sun, and she's really loves her Scorpionic side, and she's annoyed that she's a Cancer sun, right? It's like me, a Cancer rising. She's like, she's very, very intense and has just this really penetrating depth about her. And she hates that she has Cancerian emotions. She just doesn't like it because she appreciates the qualities of Scorpio. And so sometimes what happens is that you have trouble accessing your sun because you have other planets getting in the way, causing friction and tension and challenge to your ability to express yourself. And so Saturn can do that by, again, creating pressure to conform to societal norms. And so therefore you're not able to be yourself. Maybe there is a parental figure that kind of keeps you from being able to step into your own authenticity and, again, express yourself in the way that you want. Maybe circumstances and authority figures kind of put the, dampen and kind of put restrictions again on what you can do. So Saturnian aspects to the sun can do that. So definitely look at your chart and see if you have any squares or oppositions or even any quincunxes to your sun made by Saturn. Another planet hard aspect that you could look out for is Neptune. Neptune dissolves the ego, like literally will dissolve, like has this dissolving of the ego energy. It's this planet of dreams and mysticism and spirituality and intuition. And when I say dissolve the ego, right? You have a nice sense of identity, and the things that are associated to Neptune, like spirituality, like connecting to source and giving up your own ego and what you want to connect to source. Or, Neptune also deals with drugs and substances. And so sometimes people, lose themselves in those substances. So when you have Neptunian hard aspects, there might be a struggle to assert one's boundaries, to assert one's identity to the world. There might also be a how do I say it, confusion around who you truly are and what you bring to the table. And so you might not even be able to clearly see who you really are and what you're meant to do in this life. So there might be confusion about, again, your identity expression. And then another honorable mention is hard aspects to the sun made by Pluto. You could have a power dynamic where someone is really just controlling you and keeping you from being able to be who you want to be. So maybe you're an artist, but you're in a really controlling relationship, and that person doesn't want you to go and sing and go out and sing or whatever. So you're a singer or whatever, and the person's controlling you, and you're not able to truly be the person that you want to be. Because sometimes hard aspects from Pluto can create power dynamics, and that can be very stifling in keeping someone from being able to truly express themselves. So things to think about. So all in all, this highlights the importance of having your own chart and also connecting with your friendly neighborhood astrologer to help you sort out some of the blind spots that can happen when you do have hard aspects hitting your sun sign. Another reason why you might not relate to your sun sign is that your sun is in your 2nd, 6th, 8th, and 12th houses. These are considered like hidden houses. They're non-Ptolemaic houses. Pretty much, they're not making either a square or opposition, a trine, or a sextile to the first house. And these houses, for example, right here, are kind of blind spots for the houses. For the ascendant, they're right next to the first house. And the 8th and the 6th houses are awkward houses. One house being the house of death, and the other house being the house of sickness. So it can be, has some negative interpretations, but you're not, it's not that dramatic all the time. But if your sun sign is in those houses, they can have an impact on the things that you are allowed to, have an impact on your ability to shine, weakens your ability to achieve certain goals, and it might take more time to be seen, to manifest the goals that you have in your life. So then if the sun is in the 2nd house, the 2nd house is linked to financial matters and material possessions, self-esteem, and things like that. And so the individual may place significant emphasis on those things to the point where they need and have a responsibility, because 2nd and 6th houses do have this, earth energy to it. It has this responsibility, practicality, energy to it, a reliability element to it. And so a person whose identity is kind of tied to material acquisition of material stability can be focused more on what needs to be done to do that and to get that and attain that, and not really have space for them to express themselves. Like, best example is someone who might have been parentified at a young age to where they had to start working at an early age because their mother, maybe a single mom or something like that. And so because of that, they had to show up and put away their goals and dreams and what they want to do so that they can help the family and make money. So this is exactly where you can maybe see that play out. The 6th house, the sun in the 6th house, is a house of service. It's a house of day-to-day routines and work. And so a person, again, similar to that practicality, earth, energy, material wealth, there is this needing no one. When I see the sun there, I sometimes question if someone feels the need to be kind of a martyr for someone, to be kind of give themselves and sacrifice themselves and what they want in their life, to help someone else and to be there for someone else. And so that can either be a relationship or, again, a family situation, a work situation, and it keeps them from being able to shine and be the best person that they could possibly be and show up for themselves. So sometimes it puts their needs on the back burner. If the sun is in the 8th house, that can be kind of difficult as well for that person, right? It can make it hard for them to feel worth. Is it worth going and spending time to do superficial things? The sun can have this superficiality, surface level quality to it. And this person really understands and believes that there's a lot of depth in life, and there's a lot of things that they need to get. Superficiality doesn't work for someone with a sun in the 8th house. And so maybe they want to be a Leo and shine and be bold and be out there and just, dazzle people when they walk into the room. But then at the same time, they're like, what's the point? This is superficial. And so that can be a little hard for them, where they can't quite embody that Leonian archetype. And then finally, 12th house. 12th house is the hidden house. It's a house that you go hide things, hide skeletons in the closet, go retreat and go into solitude to restore, and retreat and restore yourself. It is a house where, sometimes people feel like they're unseen. So, that can be really difficult for someone, because they're literally, the sun wants to shine, the sun wants to be seen, but somehow in their life, they're just kind of tucked away. It can also mean that someone's highly intuitive and spiritual, because it's a Piscean house. But at the same time, again, similar to how Neptune, hard aspects to Neptune can kind of blur the lines of who this person is, at least for that person, it can be very hard for them to be seen as who they truly are to the world. The next reason why you might not relate to your sun sign is that you were born at night. So in the realm of astrology, specifically Hellenistic astrology, an evening chart, a person who was born with the sun below the horizon might lean toward a deeper resonance with their moon sign. And pretty much they would be more likely to embody their moon sign qualities. So if you were born at night and you're, again, someone who does not feel 100% aligned with their sun sign, go check out if the archetypes of your moon sign, if you're born at night, and see if it resonates with you instead. That could be something that's afoot. So I actually didn't resonate with astrology until I learned about my rising and my moon, both being in Libra. So something to consider. I do want you to, again, look at your moon sign, see how it fits. The astrology podcast does a very good breakdown on explaining what sect is, because this concept of, being more ruled by the moon versus being more ruled by the sun, this concept is called around a topic called sect in astrology. So I'm going to put a link where you can watch a very long, thorough video on this concept, and they explain it really well, like better than I probably could. So check it out. Another reason why you don't relate to your sun sign is because you might not be the sign that you think you are. In other words, you can have a completely different sun sign. I'm going to share an example here with a chart, because what happens due to just wobble of the Earth and the way orbital speed is, it's not exact, right? The sun, when it gets to return to this exact same spot that it was at the time of your birth, it may happen give or take a day. And with that, if you are born, and I'm going to give you a perfect example here right now, I'm going to show it right now. So here you have this sample chart. So theoretically, this person was born September 22nd, 1980. Okay. And this person, 0 degrees Libra, but they are a Libra. Okay. This makes them a Libra. If they were born just 3 years later, the sun is 29 degrees Virgo, then they're a Virgo. So this highlights the importance of one, casting your chart. It's very important. Just simply Googling date ranges for certain zodiac signs can really mess you up. And so that's why it's super important to make sure that you cast your chart. If you do anything and you get anything out of this video, cast your chart. It's a life and game changer once you do that. Another reason why you might not resonate with your sun sign is that the majority of your planets are not in the same sign or element as your sun sign. So I'm going to show you an example right now. This person's chart, they have their sun in Cancer. The sun in Cancer is a person who has an identity around being, empathic, being, intuitive, being protective in a maternal way, being nurturing to people around them, and also being emotional, but in a way that is just kind of responsive to the environment that they have or they're exposed to. So the question is, if someone Googled on July 13th, 1964, what sign am I? And they Googled their sun sign and they read the archetype of what Cancer is, do you think this person with this chart would feel like a Cancer all the time? And if you look here, probably not. There's a good amount of water energy in this person's chart, but for the most part, the sun sign is kind of standalone. You have the North Node there, but that's, again, you have to grasp for that and work at that. So it's not necessarily a natural state for the person. You have the sun, Saturn, and Neptune, 3 planets in their water sign, but again, the only planet that's in the celestial body that's in Cancer is the sun. So now you have the Earth energy, though. Earth energy is a lot stronger in this chart. And so Earth energy tends to be practical, analytical. It's more focused on material manifestations and goals. And so you have someone who has their core identity, their sun in Cancer, which can be very focused on the emotions and not with the tangible. And then you have someone who has most of their planets in the tangible houses. So what you end up having maybe is someone who's more drawn to a more technical, data-driven career, a more of an analyst type of career. And so you can have someone like this who really doesn't understand why they could possibly be a Cancer, because all his energy is pushed towards the tangible, the material. All the energy and the goals and the things that make them happy and how they navigate life is rooted in, again, data, facts, what's practical, what's reasonable, what's the responsible path, what will give me material success. So this is a perfect example of a chart that someone might have where they're solidly a Cancer. They have their sun in Cancer, but there's dissonance on why they feel like a Cancer. So I am editing right now, and I just thought of one other reason why someone might not resonate with their sun sign, and it could be because of their decans. So where their sun is, what decan their sun is in. And I know this is a huge topic, and I'm going to try to just touch on what that means. But obviously, I'm leaving it to you guys to kind of look at your own specific chart and play with this topic and see if it resonates with you. So I'm going to show you a chart really quickly. So in astrology, each zodiac sign is divided into 3 parts called decans. Each decan spans 10 degrees, which makes sense. You can back into that math on your own time. And so these decans add another layer of depth to the primary traits of the sun sign. So let's go with this chart here. And I'm sorry, I can't, I'll probably if I do a video on decans, I will definitely make sure to have a better chart or create my own chart. This is from astrology.com, and I didn't want to use someone else's like website, their chart from their website. But this is an okay chart. What we have here is the zodiac, all the signs that we're familiar with. And in here, it's showing each decan by its ruler. Okay, so normally Aries is ruled by Mars. And so a first decan Aries, so if my sun is in the first decan, it's going to mean that I am an Aries, like I'm a true Aries person that is ruled by Mars. If I have my birthday or my sun is in the second decan, I'm going to take on a little bit more Leo traits, and my secondary sun ruler will be the sun, and which would make me a little bit more bold, probably a little bit more nostalgic, a little bit more desirous of doing bold things and leadership and entrepreneurship and just having fun and being in the moment. And then you can have, if your sun sign or your sun is in the third decan of Aries, it would be more Jupiterian in nature. So again, that adventure, that always looking for the next thing, always wanting to expand and learn more about life through all modes in which you can learn about life, through travel, through education, through all types of things. So that is kind of how that works. And so you can see how someone who has their sun in that's not in the first decan, you can see how Aries sun, when their sun is not in the first decan of Aries, how it could kind of tone down their Aryan nature and make it just a little bit more catered to the nature of maybe Leo or to the nature of Sagittarius. So play with that on your own chart. Look at where your sun sign is, and if the sun sign is in a specific decan, that could be also a reason why you're just not quite feeling your sun sign. Okay, hopefully that helps. So to wrap this all up, pop astrology unfortunately does a bad job of communicating the importance of using and casting a natal chart. It assumes that a person's personality and their life expression and how they express in this life is tied up in one of 12 archetypes and can neatly fit in that. And so it's a huge disservice to the astrological community when you do that, because you have pretty much said that this complex person with this unique experience can fit into this one mold. And that is not true. Astrology is a very vast, complex study. And again, it just does a huge disservice. It oversimplifies what we do. It creates a lack of individuality. It's, creates these broad strokes of interpretation, and it lacks depth. And something that I found with, applying all of these different planets and kind of working and weaving this unique story of a person's life, you're not creating a story of a person that fits in this 1 in 12 archetype. You're really creating a narrative of a person that is as unique as a fingerprint, right? I think a fingerprint is 1 in 7 trillion. For the likelihood of someone having the same fingerprint as you is 1 in 7 trillion. And I put in just a few, I did like calculations on this, and I put in a few variables and to see how many permutations of, what's the likelihood of having two people have the same chart. And it is, again, I think it's close to 1 in 4 trillion. Now, I didn't put all the placements that I could possibly put on it. I kept it really lean. I think I don't even think I put any Chiron or anything like that. And I got 1 in 4 trillion. So pop astrology doesn't do that. And so keep all that in mind as you are learning and growing, as you're studying more astrology, that there is a miseducation on it. And I have a theory on that. I do believe that the powers that be don't want us to have manifestation power. If we were able to understand the cyclicality of the universe and be able to manifest around that, we would be very powerful. We'd be working and walking in our truths all the time, and we'd be living way better lives than we would be living now. And the society as a whole would look completely different. And I don't think the systems want that. JP Morgan one time said that millionaires don't use astrology, but billionaires do. And there's a reason why they protect this knowledge. There's a reason why some of the most powerful people in the world use astrology. And so that's my 2 cents. I'll probably do a video more about my tin hat conspiracies on astrology. But for now, I hope that I provided you with some insight and some things to look at, some things to research. Cast that chart, guys. Cast the chart, because that will change your complete perspective on your sun sign. It's not about your sun sign. Your sun sign is important, very important, but it's not all about your sun sign. So, anyways, thank you for joining me today. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I appreciate the love, and I will see you next time. Bye.